politics in its entire history. Why are they not here? Did someone tell them or pay them not to appear here? Is that what a senator is supposed to do? I rose from my deathbed, from my sick bed. I think of it as my deathbed because I never rise there anymore. After this, I will have to stay in my sick bed for at least 2 days. In any event, Ms. Tuason, whom I have seen here, I will not pretend that I do not know you. I have always been casual friends with you. I will admit this to any person who asks, unlike Senator Enrile, who took all of 3 days to remember that he is your casual acquaintance. Para magkaibigan lang pala kayong casual acquaintance, sa itong araw niya, pinag-isipan kung anong klase kang kaibigan niya. Ganon ang relasyon ni Senator Enrile dito sa hearing na ito. I have several points. I hope you forgive me if I speak very fast, but I hope you will not get nervous because if you are decided to tell the whole truth, then I am your friend. This first point. Napoles used code names for certain senators. Tanda for Enrile, Sexy for Estrada, Pogi for Revilla. Most recently, now we have come up with other code names. Dahon for Loren Legarda, Bigote for Vicente Soto, Bonget for Senator Marcos. Question, are you familiar with these code names? Do you know other code names and what they stand for?
Beg your pardon, ma'am?
Are you familiar with these code names? Meron ka pang alam maliban sa tanda, sexy, pogi, dahon, bigote, bonget?
No, I know about the three because I saw that.
Yung iba?
No, I'm not.
Wala
aware.
nang iba? Maski dito sa reunion ninyo ni Ben Hurloy, hindi kayo nanggamit itong mga code names na ito?
Hindi, we didn't get to talk about it. I don't know.
So wala ka nang may dagdag. Okay, next point. In 2009, when you celebrated your 60th birthday, one newspaper society columnist called you a high society doyen.
Haha.
Another reportedly described you as, quote, refined, well-heeled, with good social graces, a socialite and a fashion plate, unquote. I agree with all of these descriptions from what I have known of you. During your time, similar encomiums were paid to you by starstruck journalists. In your affidavit, which I have, page 7, in answer to question number 29, you said, the transaction was consummated to a certain Mr. Matt Ranillo showing the delivery of the sum of 1.197 million to a house at 1564 Mahogany Street, Dasmariñas Village, Makati City. Question number 30 asked, being a resident of Dasmariñas Village, do you know who resides at number 1564 Mahogany Street, Dasmariñas Village, Makati City? You answered, Justa Tantoco.
Yes, ma'am.
Question, are there other socialites, whether living in Dasmariñas or Forbes or any of those enclaves of the rich, who are also involved in pork barrel transactions or other similar uses of government funds, and will you please name them? Hindi ka lang naman mag-isa eh. Si Justa Tantoco, isa na rin. O sino pa yung iba?
That was the residence of Justa Tantoc.
Right.
I wasn't very sure if she's an agent. I don't know.
Well,
When I was asked whose house was that, I know that house because I have been there several times for
Yes.
parties.
You know that that is her house. You know that Matranillo delivered money there.
Up-
And this was after you had already told a story where you're going to have a first transaction with Senator Estrada, and then you're about to receive money, but he canceled the whole thing.
Yes.
Pagkatapos nagpadala ng pera, doon sa address na ito, tinanong katuloy ng mga ahente, kaninong bahayan kay Justa Tantoco? Eh kung yun palang relasyon ninyo, na hindi lang natuloy, di natural lang na mag-iisip ka na ganun din ang relasyon ng Justa Tantoco. Are you trying to clear, Ms. Tantoco?
No, I'm not. That it's
Oh.
in the affidavit of Ben-Hur. It was received by Pauline Labayen in the residence of
So it's
Justa.
natural only to presume that Mrs. Tantoco is engaged in the same business that you are. Oh.
I can only presume, pero
Oh.
wala ho akong proof.
Ah, you are a very intelligent witness. I've just proven it. Intelligent witness, by the way, is a term of art in law. Meaning to say, ang witness nakakaintindi. Eh, ganun ang negosyo mo. Hindi natuloy. Maya-maya, nalaman mo na yung pera pala binigay doon sa kapitbahay mo sa Dasmariñas Village. At sinasabi mo ngayon na, hindi ka sigurado kung ganon ang negosyo niya o hindi, basta deliver yung pera doon. You just want to stick to your literal answer. Isn't that so?
What I heard, it was Matranillo, but I don't know Matranillo personally.
All right.
That's what I heard from when
Well,
it
I
was
believe that point.
Matranillo. But
I think, Mrs. Tuazan, you're trying to tread on as few toes as possible. You are walking on eggshells. That's why you are very, very strict about the way your answers should be interpreted. If that is the case, I will oblige you. Next point. I told you a copy of your affidavit, which contains many interesting details and specifies certain names. As a former trial judge, I'm struck by the fact that your adversaries have done nothing except to issue denials. Itong si Ms. Tuazon, nagsasalita siya at binibigyan niyang petsa, ang pangalan, ang address. Samantalang makalaban niya ngayon, nagalit sa kanya dahil magtestigo siya laban sa kanila. Wala nang ginawa kundi deny. Ngayon, ano bang sabi ng batas tungkol sa denial? As a law student and as a lawyer in the courtroom, I implemented the rule that a positive assertion, like your affidavit, is given more weight in law than a negative assertion, like the denial of your adversaries. For your education, please allow me to quote certain recent decisions of the Supreme Court para matapos na itong debate sa dyaryo, na kung pakinggan mo lang, alam na alam nilang batas. Hindi ganun yun eh. Ito, ang sabi ng Korte Suprema, we have laws, but these laws are interpreted by the Supreme Court. The court tells us what it means. Ngayon kung merong nagsasabing positive, nangyari yon. Merong nagsasabing hindi nangyari yon. Ang sabi ng ating Korte Suprema, paniwalaan natin ang nagsasabi ng positive, hindi ng negative. Kasi kadali lang magsabing hindi totoo yan. Said the court, denial is an inherently weak defense and has always been viewed upon with disfavor by the courts due to the ease with which it can be concocted, as in this case. Verily, mere denial, unsubstantiated by clear and convincing evidence, is negative self-serving evidence which cannot be given greater evidentiary weight than the testimony of the complaining witness who testified on affirmative matters. People versus Monte Calvo, decided in 2013, only a few months ago. Next case, quote, both denial and alibi are inherently weak defenses which cannot prevail over the positive and credible testimonies of the prosecution witnesses that appellants committed the crime. Unless substantiated by clear and convincing proof, such defense is negative, self-serving, and undeserving of any weight in law. People v. Nelmida, 2012. One more case, because there's an entire line of cases like this. Under the evidentiary rules, a positive assertion is generally entitled to more weight than a plain denial. Career Philippines, 2012. Denial, like, this is my favorite. Denial, like alibi, as an exonerating justification, is inherently weak and, if uncorroborated, regresses to blatant impotence. Blatant impotence. Impotent na, blatant pa. Lalo na kung matanda na. Thus, Ms. Witness, I humbly urge you to be as specific and detailed as possible in your replies to me, because such details are badges of truth-telling. If you do so, your adversaries will be revealed as blatantly impotent. Kaya, kung minsan, please excuse the manner in which I will ask you questions since we are old friends. I do not mean to be rude to you. I'm just carried away by my passion for the point that I'm trying to make. Next point. Mrs. Tuazon, please forgive me, but I have to educate you first. There are two kinds of evidence in law. One is called direct evidence, the other is called indirect evidence. Direct evidence is sometimes also called eyewitness evidence. That is to say, what the witness saw with their five, or perceived with their five senses, without calling for any presumption or any inference. Indirect evidence is sometimes also called circumstantial evidence. And this kind of evidence is based on inference or presumption. You see, you're always answering, I presume so. That will become indirect or circumstantial. That's why I keep on insisting, will you please say outright? Because it's like this. you are presenting direct evidence. You're an eyewitness. Is there anything wrong with your five senses? Eye, ears, nose,